Welcome everybody to the Morning Update Show. I am your co-host, Trey Holiday. Happy Thursday to all of you out there in the ethos. And y'all may be wondering, what's up with my co-host? You show them I'm in the studio by myself, but Omari stays on the job. Omari is doing his due diligence with so many others. Let's bring up that overlay so people can understand. He is working with all of these guys, the age-friendly Seattle, close to home. He is in the podcast studio today, being online with all of these guys. You know, Omari cares about the kids and cares about our people. So kudos to you, Omari. He'll be joining us later in the show. But you guys know I got to do this with a co-host. So we had to bring on one of our co-hosts extraordinaire, Mr. Justin Carter from Capitol Hill Seattle blog. Hey, Justin, how are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. I'm happy to fill in a pinch for Omar. It's I'm a pinch hitter for the big slugger, but I'll do my best.
Absolutely. Well, I know that we have some headlines to get into today. I'm going to get right into it, Justin, if that's okay with you. There are some, right now there was a Seattle area Proud Boy that was arrested for the insurrection that happened at the Capitol. Can you please play that clip?
A Renton man and member of the Proud Boys group is now charged in federal court related to the January 6th Capitol riot. 30-year-old Ethan Nordine, also known as Rufio Panman, faces several charges, and those include obstructing or impeding an official proceeding, aiding and abetting, knowingly entering or remaining in restricted buildings or grounds, and violent entry and disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds. Meanwhile, today the Canadian government designated the Proud Boys as a terrorist group, saying it played a pivotal role in the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. Here in the U.S., though, the White House press secretary says the Biden administration will likely wait for a review before making a decision on the Proud Boys designation.
We, of course, have a review underway, a domestic violent extremism, review that's underway by our national security team to take a look at violence and this type of concerning group activity across the country.
Meanwhile, Canada is the first country in the world to take this step, and that means the group could have assets seized and face harsher terrorism-related criminal penalties there.
This is getting more and more serious, Justin, as the layers pull back. That was from our media friends over there at King 5. Honestly, Justin, we're seeing more and more charges come out as time goes on and as this investigation continues. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's definitely lots of federal activity in the wake of the January 6th storming of the Capitol, but also other incidents like what happened here in Washington State and Olympia. And through this, we're learning a little bit more about the threat that faces the nation, but also some of these people have connections here. A man who was charged with federal charges in Florida. Turns out that he was also part of the scene at CHOP for a while and freaked some people out with kind of his what he professed as leftist kind of leaning militaristic take on his approach to the battle for civil rights. So what we're seeing is the justice system pulling in a lot of extremists right now, and you can say from both sides, but really something they have in common is a lot of these are white males. A lot of these are people who are heavily armed. And a lot of these are folks that have taken pretty radical ideas and pushed them into the discussion, but also now are facing pretty severe justice consequences, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think that the only thing that we can really connect this to really is the Civil War here on our land. When we talk about how the factions began to kind of take sides and then people began to weaponize themselves and creating their own kind of militia and armies, basically. And it looks like a lot of what they've been doing and the ways that we saw them during this insurrection really was reminiscent of that. And I think you're absolutely right in terms of how things are playing out. It seems like it's a bit splintered right now because everybody was gathered there in the Capitol, but they were coming from all over the country. And here we are seeing, once again, more and more people that are connected to Washington State that are a part of this. And it's really disheartening to understand and start to learn how many people from here also went there to be a part of all of this. And again, whether they entered the Capitol or they didn't, I think the major thing was really about kind of disrupting the democratic process no matter what. And unfortunately, we do have to deal with a lot of that right here on our soil.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what consequences come from all this. Right now, it's the part of the process where folks are being brought in, they're being arrested, they're beginning the justice process. What we should watch now for is what the consequences are, and then we can see if things are improved. But it's pretty obvious that the nation has an issue that is not going to go away anytime soon.
Absolutely, Justin. Thank you for your comments here. Our next story actually is a bit of hope. I'm excited here from our friends over at Seattle Medium. You guys can read more on this article, but we're going to put it up for you. There is a new bill, proposed bill that would provide support to foster children in public schools. And this is brought to bear by Twana Nobles. This is House Bill 5184. Twana also grew up in foster care. And one of the things that she says here in the article that really struck me was that students benefit from having a village of people who pay attention to their needs. She was also able to utilize her own personal experience regarding this because she had a village surrounding her that allowed her to get to the place that she is at right now. It's great to see that our state is taking this seriously. I do think when we look at, again, the numbers and the disparity gaps, we see that oftentimes foster children fall through the cracks of the system. And so this bill would actually provide them more support, more encouragement, mentorship, and all of that so that they can have that village supporting them. What do you think about this, Justin?
Well, it's beyond time to address this. There are two populations of students in the state that have been it's just and continue to be a major issue for graduation rates and performance and making sure that it's an equitable experience. Homeless students have received some help and some attention and improvements through legislation in recent years, and in some ways, this is a catch-up for the foster children and the kids that have grown up in foster homes who are facing many of the same issues and have graduation rates that are very similar and hugely challenged. And so hopefully this will help get a lot of kids through school and move on to successful, happy lives.
Agreed. And again, I just say kudos to Twyna. I hope I'm saying that right. Maybe it's Twyna. It's Twina. I want to make sure I'm getting that right. But congratulations to you, because I think that is also another indication and example of when we have a robust and diverse legislative body that really we can bring in those personal experiences to move the system forward. And that to me is what's really exciting here as well. So shout out to you, Ms. Nobles, for, bringing your personal experience to bear here. Now, Justin, I know you as a journalist, you have brought some articles of your own from Capitol Hill Seattle blog. Please let's get into it, Justin.
Yeah, how about another story about change in leadership and the kinds of people that we will have to choose to elect as the next Seattle mayor. So on Wednesday, it wasn't a huge surprise, but Lorena Gonzalez has officially entered the race to be the next mayor here in the city. We've got a campaign that is well underway suddenly. It's a race to the primary in the summer where two of the candidates will go through to the November general. Gonzalez has probably leapt into the frontrunner seat. She has led the city council through an extraordinary period in the COVID crisis. She was there at the front as the city council wrestled with the challenges of the defund SPD movement and the Black Lives Matter protests and rallies of the summer. And so now she's in a position where she's a leader. She sounded pretty careful and cautious when she talked to us this week. She was slow to criticize Mayor Durkin. This is the kind of thing a front runner probably will do as she wants to kind of keep her position and cement it. We'll see as challengers from the left keep fighting. The progressives who she'll face going into the summer will challenge her, but also as new, maybe more pro-business candidates enter the field, that will also be a big issue for the city council president.
Absolutely. And I think you're right here. There was really no surprise. I mean, we were like sitting here like, well, who's it going to be? You know, is Mosqueda going to do it? You know, is Gonzalez going to do it? I think that this is very interesting in terms of how the mayoral race is shaping up for Seattle. And you are right with regard to a lot of the heavyweight that, you know, Council President Gonzalez has really been pushing forward in terms of, you know, really understanding ways to bridge the gaps between some of the, you know, city officials and community groups. It has been a whirlwind of activity in that regard. And honestly, listening to a lot of the folks doing research now on the ground, it's important, I think, from the council perspective, to really find ways to have connectivity. And I've seen, you know, Council President Gonzalez doing that, to be honest. So it's exciting, I think. And you're right with regard to the front runner seat. I think a lot of folks that have not had the opportunity to be in that position of power are going to have a lot of catching up to do with the race. What's next, Justin?
Well, let's talk about some more change in the Central District. A developer that is pretty well loved on Capitol Hill and really credited with a lot of the things that we both love and maybe don't like about the modern Pike Pine neighborhood, has a pretty major project in the middle of things in the Central District. Liz Dunn is developing a 4-story mixed-use project in the middle of East Cherry. The sad news is this will mean the end of the current spaces for like the Twilight Exit and the long-time East African Tana Market. Dunn is been quick to say over the years that this is a project that's far in the future and people shouldn't be concerned, and they're working on some of the realities around things with the current tenants. That conversation needs to shift now because we're at the point where permits are going to start to be issued and the design process is underway, and construction comes relatively soon. And so that change is here now. It'll be something to grapple with. It's Central District is where we still see the cranes. It is where we still see a lot of the development activity that people have associated with Capitol Hill, but is actually happening in places like 23rd and Jackson, 23rd and Union, and now East Cherry.
Wow. This is maybe a tougher one for me because I grew up before it was Tana Market, it was Jordan's. And honestly, I grew up.
That's good history. Thank you. I did not know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you ask almost anybody who went to Garfield, they knew about Jordan's. They knew about the chicken from Jordan's. I would get my barbecue sauce and hot sauce and shake it up in the bag. So this is like a part of my history. And so many people that went to Garfield and schools in the area were so used to Jordan's. And so now it is Tana Market, which did change a lot. But again, it was there servicing the people of the community, in African ownership. And so to hear that, there's some work being done with the tenants, of course, my ears peak up because I'm thinking, all right, we need to make sure that community is a part of this process. When we talk about from the Africatown Community Development, Community Land Trust, when we talk about from that perspective, we've been saying, look, if you're going to be doing development in the Central District, the community needs to be involved. So again, I'll be following up with these developers to see what their plan is with regard to really hearing from community in terms of the design, and particularly in terms of commercial affordability, because we don't want to see our, places and spaces once they get, built on and they get, demolished, and then all of that. There's history that's lost there. So it would be really interesting to see how Liz Dunn and her team, how they're really thinking about having some integrated discussions there within community so that can be, a bit lessened in this project. Yeah, you're right. We've been seeing it all over the Central District. Thanks for writing on that, Justin.
Sure. Yeah, there's another story about it's really similar in the neighborhood. It's almost like if you were to take the discussion that we're talking about with East Cherry and then fast forward it, there is, it's a controversy. It's simple to kind of chalk those things up. It's a TV likes to say controversy at 23rd and Union. This is a controversy there in the middle of the Central District. The PCC market is under a pretty intense amount of pushback. First, the CEO has come out against the hazard pay legislation that was put in emergency effect to give grocery workers $4 more an hour to help through the COVID-19 crisis. And so PCC has opposed that, and people are pushing back on that opposition. But King County Equity Now has also come out swinging and is pushing on PCC to live up to some of its promises. When the co-op opened at 23rd and Union last year, its dedication to more equitable hiring and to getting rid of what they called racism in retail has been a test. And King County Equity Now has a few demands for the store that it's asking for public support on. They include things like adding more Black members to the board. They include things like talking about moving towards some kind of Black ownership around grocery stores in the neighborhood. It's a conversation, but it's something that people will want to support. And it really bears watching with, there's a massive grocery project coming to 23rd and Jackson. When Amazon opens its new store there, which is coming soon, it's ready to start putting in the actual store now that the construction of the building's done. We're going to have some really major discussions for the neighborhood to watch and see how these new players coming into the neighborhood, how they shape what they do, because they're global businesses sometimes, like Amazon. And now we're looking at them through the mirror, through the prism of the Central District and how they fit into the fabric of the communities that have been there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the thing is that, it's something I'm so connected to, honestly, Justin, on the back end, doing a lot of work with UFCW Local 21 and understanding what grocery union workers are also demanding, because they seem to really stand in sidestep in solidarity with a lot of what, King County Equity Now has been driving. PCC did have a new meet and greet that just happened this week to meet the CEO, and folks were able to submit questions. The questions were, I believe, kind of fielded because you had to submit them by a certain day before the actual event. But we are going to be working on another event to encourage that CEO to talk to community. It goes beyond the people who are PCC members, honestly, because when you come into a community and you don't have any care for the people that have been there, unfortunately, those kind of tactics are not going to stand anymore for folks in community. And this is why those demands are so important. Again, when we think about the longer aspirations, in terms of Black ownership of spaces like PCC, how we actually transform and educate folks. And I think PCC, I've been saying this from the gate, they really have an opportunity to lead in this regard and really showcase to the nation how to do things differently. Unfortunately, when the CEO comes out against hazard pay, it almost feels like we're going to have a whole other battle just to get to those long-term aspirations and to find ways to find solidarity in the middle ground as we move forward. Because honestly, Justin, this is something that has been boiling the blood of so many people in community because these stores don't almost never do they really represent the products that folks in the community historically have wanted to have at their side. Of course, we want healthy foods and organic produce for our children and ourselves. Those things are great. But in terms of having this dismissive attitude, unfortunately, when we hear things like this and the community hears, that this CEO, the new CEO, first out the gate, you're going to go against the hazard pay. This is not a good look for PCC at all, Justin.
Yeah, no, I'm interested in the PCC meetings, but make sure to invite me when you get the Amazon meeting, because that's going to be really interesting.
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, we were on their heads as well when it came to the Jackson apartments. We were asking Vulcan early on. We had a whole community meeting talking about the developments happening in the Central District, and Vulcan was represented there. And again, we were like, hey, what are y'all doing? We keep hearing about an Amazon store going there, Amazon Go. They don't take food stamps. People were like getting to that point. And Vulcan did not give us any indication that it would be Amazon. Everybody in the streets were talking, though, Justin. So you're absolutely right. That'll be coming up soon. We'll make sure you get the invite. And I know that, yeah, we got a lot to deal with there. Thanks for joining us this morning, Justin. We always appreciate when you come onto the Morning Update show, and we really appreciate the relationship we have with Capitol Hill Seattle blog. Thank you so much. Before we let you go, again, how can folks find the stories that you just mentioned?
Sure. Come check us out at CapitolHillSeattle.com. We cover the neighborhood. We cover parts of the Central District 24/7, 365.
Awesome. Thank you so much again, Justin. You guys, stay tuned. We'll be right back. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
I did it for the city. I did it for the love. I did it for the people. I did it for us.
Back on this rap ish. I ain't even broke a sweat, homie. This practice. Pondering my next move. Staring at my track list. Hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist. Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media. Hi, everybody. Happy Friday Eve to you. It is Friday Eve, right? It's Thursday. Oh my gosh, this week is a whirlwind. Welcome back to the Morning Update Show. I'm your co-host, Trey Holiday. And you guys, Big O will be joining me later on in the show. But before we get to that, we got to bring in our next guest, one of NAAM's representatives. She is the Director of Guest Services and External Affairs, Miss Patrice Bell. Let's bring in Miss Patrice Bell.
Hello. Hi, Trey. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I am doing wonderful.
Oh my God. Look at your colors and your glasses. You're on point today.
Thank you. Just for you. Just for you.
I appreciate it. You're looking fabulous. Well, I'm glad that you could join us this morning. We are hearing that NAAM has a lot of exciting programs going on. I know that you have a clip to share, but before we get into it, do you want to just maybe set up the clip so our audience knows what's going on?
Absolutely. So NAAM is, we are setting off 2021 right this year. So we have a robust month of programming, and we are kicking off our first live event with the Seattle Opera. This is the third year that we partnered with the Seattle Opera to bring the opera to our community at an affordable price. So I know last time I was here, I said, where are you going to go to the opera for $35? NAAM, that's where. So we are doing a live drive-in movie event. We have 6 powerhouses from the Seattle, not Seattle Opera, just in opera, period. And they have provided some wonderful pieces so we can drive in, get this wonderful experience together. So it's just like going to a drive-in movie produced with Seattle Opera at the Museum of Flight. So it's going to be a wonderful event. Tickets are on sale now. Last I checked, they were almost sold out. So get them now.
Wow, what a new inventive way to be thinking about opera and connecting the opera with our community. Beautiful programming, honestly, Miss Bell. And you know, to be able to utilize space like the Museum of Flight, which we know, you know, museums have been hit hard during COVID. I mean, really trying to keep programming up and keep certain things up like donations of your annual members. That I know has been challenging. But thank you for giving us a little bit about what this clip is about. We'll have our director, Alia D'Alessandro, go ahead and play the clip. Oh my word. That gave me the chills. All that Black beauty. I mean, honestly, what a amazing way to showcase to our community that, look, we do all things. I feel like we infuse ourselves into everything. How has this been for you to be pulling this together? Like you said, working with the opera for the last 3 years. How has it been for you to be able to spotlight these amazing artists?
It gives me joy personally and professionally. I actually am a performer. So to be able to be on the backside of this and putting it together, it's just, I'm giddy. So we are excited to be able to bring this to our community. A lot of us don't get to participate in the opera. Tickets can be pricey, and it's truly an experience that comes at a cost. So it's one of my favorite events since I've been at NAAM, to be able to bring this experience to our community and to be able to showcase Black people in the opera. We do everything. We do it all. So this is my favorite. We have a ton of events. So if you want to find out more about all of NAAM's events, you can go to naamnw.org/events. And all of our February events are listed. It is a crazy calendar. But yes, this opera is one of the most unique events, and we're really looking forward to it.
Well, clearly, I mean, the community is too, when you talk about the tickets almost being sold out. And I do think too, when we think about how important artistry has been, particularly in the Black community, when we start infusing ourselves into every industry, even when it's almost like they don't want you there. I think that, again, it brings me back to how artists have been breaking barriers and opening doors and then leaving it cracked for others to come through, as they blaze the trails. That's what I'm feeling too, because oftentimes in our community, when somebody says the opera, you immediately think, well, that's not really for me. There's nobody who looks like me participating. And so being able to bridge that gap so that people understand, this is actually about artistry also in our community. That is, to me, is what's brilliant. So one question for you here. Are they going to be doing different performances? Kind of how is this setup going to be so that people, what are they going to expect when they come to the drive-in opera show?
So it's just like a drive-in movie. We know that singing and performing is actually a super spreader event. So the Black community has been hit especially hard by COVID. So we do want to keep everyone safe. All of the performances are going to be recorded so that you can view them just like you would at a movie. And it's going to be special. Only people at the drive-in will be able to see it, and we'll release it later for those who aren't able to join us. But it's going to be produced just like a movie. So you'll drive in, get your parking space, and you'll tune into the movie. We'll have a few other clips from some of our partners, and it's really going to be an experience. So it'll be previews, movies, and everything, and maybe even a visit from some of your favorite Black food vendors. Yeah. So it's a great opportunity for a Valentine's Day date.
Yes, I see what's happening. That is beautiful. You guys set it up properly. It is happening on the 13th. Before we let you go, again, please let our audience know how they can purchase tickets and be a participant in this event.
Yes, if you visit our website, naamnw.org/events, you can see everything we're doing there. I do want to make sure to mention our Knowledge is Power giveaways. I want to give that a special shout out. We give away free books that center Black characters for free, brand new to youth all year round. And we have some amazing giveaways planned this year with the Sounders FC and Rave Foundation, Delta Dental. They're going to have a dressed up tooth fairy on site handing out books. Seattle Housing Authority is partnering with us for one of our events. So we want to make sure that you guys get out here and get these free books, literacy for our children. So we just cannot wait to see you guys. We're staying safe, but also continuing to work towards our mission.
Wow. And what a great mission it is. Great work. I just realized too, since it's coming up in your cars, is it really just like each ticket is per car?
Yes. So it's actually cheaper than usual. So it's $40 per vehicle. So definitely pile up with your household and come on out and enjoy the show.
Oh, well, thank you so much once again, Miss Bell. This has been phenomenal. Absolutely. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Have a good day.
You too. Wow, y'all, what an amazing experience to share with your families. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to look and see if tickets are still available. But if you guys want to bring your kids out, that's an amazing way to do it so that they can begin to experience opera at a younger age. Thanks to NAAM. That's beautiful. You guys, my co-host Big O joins me after this break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own, tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media. Hey, there we are. Welcome back to the Morning Update Show. I'm your co-host, Trey Holiday, and I am excited to be bringing my co-hostess with the mostest back to the set after all that hard work. What up, Big O?
Trey Holiday. Man, I just had the best event there. Age-friendly Seattle Department of Human Services. Man, elders from across the city were all part of this discussion. They want to know a lot too. You know what I'm saying? Which was good. I was trying not to talk people to death. I was like, I want to know what's cracking with our elders, how we can be more supportive of them. And people were like, man, you guys need to advocate for this task force and that task force and for elders and everything else. And it's always good, and because they were able to remind them, like, the Morning Update Show started almost a year ago. Next month, March 19th, it'll be 1 year, specifically with our elders in mind, of like, how do we get information out to our elders? And so, man, it's always just a good boost when I'm able to talk to them. Man, I love our community elders. I love elders in general, right? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, man. I know. I mean, I spend time intentionally with my elders, and I always love to give them tribute here. I love how we were able to showcase, Miss Dawn Mason, Representative Dawn Mason, and also Dr. Maxine Mims earlier this week. Again, two elders whose shoulders I definitely stand on. They let me know that every single week that I'm able to get in touch with them. And honestly, it just is another reason why we talk about the connectivity of our community. And I love that you were able to do that today, Omari.
Yeah, it's dope. It's should be up on YouTube. We're gonna share the link, and I think it's easy for people to kind of look at Converge, and especially coverage coming out of protests, and think that it's all about, what I'm saying, the street and where it's at. But our heart and soul literally lies in our community. And our elders are the cornerstone of that community, and so it's always a great feeling to be of service. How'd it go with Justin Carter?
You know what? We had a great conversation. I mean, the thing is that it was interesting, honestly, to see how we keep on talking about this case, this insurrection, as a peeling back the onion, man. And honestly, now a Renton man is, in the fray. I mean, honestly, Justin brought his stories. It's always great to have him on, man, and have that connectivity with Capitol Hill Seattle blog, man.
Yeah, I saw there was a diverging story there, and that was a story around PCC. I'm just curious how that conversation went. I mean, I know the mayor. We we talked to the mayor the other day when it was like, oh, well, is the mayor going to sign the hazard pay? And man, we put her on the hot seat. Man, you signing this or what? She was like, yeah, I'm signing it. Don't worry. So I know the hazard pay part is out there, but I know that Justin's article, he talked about people having issues around gentrification. I missed that part, and I'm not trying to rehash anything, but I'm just curious how the grocery store going into the neighborhood there is now adding to gentrification.
Yeah, well, that is a key factor. And as I told Justin, like, I'm so connected to this issue, particularly with PCC, because we on the community side through King County Equity Now and Africatown Community Land Trust have been urging PCC to lead in terms of the grocery industry, to change the ways that that unfortunately, when it looks like PCC has been following waves of gentrification, we talked about them coming into Columbia City. As Columbia City began to get gentrified, we talked about them coming into the Central District as the Central District has been gentrified. And we were asking their leadership directly, like, hey, it looks like you guys are following waves of gentrification. Like, what do you have to say about that? And they're like, well, no, we're trying to make sure our members are supported. I mean, again, they gave us a political answer, but those in the community actually feel something different. And to see this new CEO now, it's almost like out the gate, you're coming against the hazard pay. I mean, it's really, honestly, it's a bad look for PCC, man.
Yeah, well, the city of Seattle is getting sued. There's two different trade organizations representing supermarkets that are suing the city of Seattle over the $4 hazard pay. And so it'll be interesting now to see how that goes. But Seattle, probably like a lot of cities across the country, people in Seattle really consider a frontline grocery worker as like a hometown hero. And so it's like going after the hazard pay. I don't know. That's a sensitive issue. Guys are wanting to sue the city and some everything else. People really, people really see the people who are out there on the front line doing all this going on. And we got to remember that, Nikki Barron brought this to our attention during the coronavirus update show a few weeks ago. So many essential workers here in Seattle, they're living in situations that are already now multi-generational home, things like that. And that's why you see now in South King County, you have this rate that is just, disproportionately high. And these are essential workers that are out there. I mean, nonetheless, the fact that especially in our community, Black community, the death rate for Black people is almost now triple the rate of white people that are out there as well. Yeah. And so it's a lot of things to take into consideration when people saying that they don't want this hazard pay or they want to sue the city over the hazard pay.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. And I remember even doing an interview with Miss Anna, one of the managers down there at Grocery Outlet, who's also a Liberty Bank building resident. And we were talking a lot about this in terms of how they have been, there for their workers, what they're doing. So honestly, that was one of the early interviews I was able to do with Hands, shout out Hands, but really going down there and seeing that they were still doing their stocks, being cashiers. They had full support in the grocery because it was necessary. As we saw when COVID really first struck, I think grocery was like the big lines around the block trying to get toilet paper and, food and essential items. These things are real. And so it's unfortunate that, this CEO is going after the hazard pay and now, a lawsuit against the city. I mean, these are some of the things that, grocery workers are essential, man. They are, and they deserve this hazard pay. Hands down.
Yeah, man, we've seen so many like 2020 continues. Even 2021, man, we've seen so many lawsuits here in the cities, and I think that jumpstart tax is still in court because somebody sued over the legality of the jumpstart tax, and that's a lot of money that's on the line right there. We're gonna take a quick break right now. When we come back, I think you got some tips around Valentine's. Is that time already?
I know.
Hold on. I'm sorry, real quick, all you. I'm back. You got a Valentine's tray?
I ain't got no Valentine.
You ain't got no Valentine. I'm sorry. There we go. You don't have no Valentine tray holiday?
I don't got no Valentine, big O. We be doing it on the solo tip these days.
We're gonna have to talk during the break. You're watching the Morning Update Show. All right. Welcome back to the morning update show. Before we get into Valentine's here, though, our brother, Marcus Harrison Green, or at the South Seattle Emerald. He's big time now. He's over in the Emerald. Today, he's got a column in the Seattle Times. Can you put that up for us? Oh, yeah. To heal our collective trauma, we must first face it. This is in the Seattle Times right here today. It's written by Marcus Harrison Green. And it's an article here where he's talking about, hey, man, there's a lot of trauma that's out there. It's one collective trauma, but individual trauma. And Marcus in here talks about things that he does to center himself. One of the things, go to the Kubota Gardens and be with nature, things like that. But I think the bigger conversation around this is, and this is what's true, and what's happened here in our community, and even myself, maybe I could take a second and just be honest with the audience, is that, I realized, I was having a conversation the other day, and I realized it's the protests and some of the issues of the protests is such a sensitive issue to me because, we never stopped. We rolled right out the protest, and this morning update show kept going, and this and that and everything else. And I talked to a lot of people who were involved in these situations, the protesters. I'm like, I've done this. I took time off, went on retreat, went fishing, went whatever. But, it never stopped for us. Even after they cleared the chapter, July 25th, there was, as a protest, this was going into August and everything else, following this stuff at City Hall and following all these other things. It's just like, there's never really been a break. And it's like I was having an honest conversation with somebody that, like, there's really a lot on my chest, and I've never stopped to deal with that. And that's why it's difficult to look at this footage for me. It's difficult to look at some of these pictures that Jake sends through. It's difficult to have these conversations. Then on top of that, we collectively here at Converge have so many conversations with these parents whose children were killed last year with gun violence. Those conversations continue. Somebody like Donita Sinclair, I've talked to her like 2 or 3 times this week. That was Lorenzo Anderson's mother. And man, there's the collective trauma is real. I don't feel like, for the most part, somebody singled me out and traumatized me. There's a few incidents of targeting that we talk about, but going through that entire traumatic experience and all these other things that tie into it, and these gun violence and everything else, it's a lot of trauma, man.
No, it is a lot of trauma. And honestly, the trauma spills over into the work. It doesn't stop, man. And to be honest, for me personally, it is something that we realized, okay, even in the midst of the protest movement and people being able to bring their voices together to speak up about these injustices that we face in community. I talk about it often in terms of the data is just numbers, but this is about our everyday real life experience. And literally in a lot of the other work I do, I speak to people all over the world, and really the understanding of the connectivity of our issues when we talk about systemic oppression, systemic racism, institutional racism and oppression, the colonialist powers that have really kept their knees on certain folks' necks throughout history, and it continues to this day. Just this morning, I was speaking to a young journalist in France, Anthony Vincent, and he was telling me the very same issues that we're talking about today. The same things that brought our people out into the streets are what they are dealing with over there in France. I spoke to another woman in Australia, same thing. When you talk about how this stuff affects us on a day-to-day basis, we don't do enough to take care of ourselves. And it is important that we actually bring that to bear, because someone like yourself who just kept going and plowing through it, any of our elders would say, nah, we need to be able to take a step back and think about self-care, man.
Right. And, the thing is as well, is that unintentionally, we found ourselves in a unique position here at Converge. We've found ourselves in a place to where community has an issue, they come here. When we need to check City Hall because, hey man, you know what I'm saying? Something ain't right or don't sound right. We're here. There's when Director Chappelle is trying to tell people, get these kids in the Seattle Promise or the preschool program, like we're here and, like being here. So it's easy to say like, man, go take some time, go do this and that. I know you're very capable and able. And so, but there's a whole nother part of this conversation that every single day we're connecting our community to resource or City Hall. We're getting answers. Nikita Oliver and Carissa Morikawa came on here the other day to talk about Satterberg, called up Satterberg, like, what's happening? You know what I'm saying? Guys come out here. They're like, man, what's up? This isn't happening in our community. I call up the mayor. I call up the Office of Housing and call up these things. And, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? This isn't a position or a situation that was intended, but it's a position that Converge is in right now. And it's a position that's really where people are converging, where community and government and organizations, everybody is like, they're coming here. And so it's easy to be like, oh man, take some time, go do this and that. But also I see that this is unparalleled access for our community that we've never seen in our lifetime. You know what I'm saying? And I know that we play a special role in our community and beyond our community. But back to the original point that, that collective trauma is real. And a lot of us here at Converge we don't even have collective trauma. We have accumulated collective trauma. When you talk about Eric Calligraphy last year, nine of the people that were murdered, gun violence murder in Seattle, he was either related to or good friends with. Mm-hmm. It's an accumulated trauma around here. So I say all that to say this is one, if you can put back up Marcus's overlay, Seattle Times, check that out. To heal our collective trauma, we must first face it. Marcus Harrison Green over there at the Seattle Times. Go check that out. And big shout out to our brother Marcus. And the other thing that I would say is to our viewers out there, and we really do appreciate all them nice messages, all them prayers, all that, you know what I'm saying? We ask people to donate, and that's cool. People can donate. They can't donate. But man, what's just as meaningful, if probably not more, is all them prayers people send up for us.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Omari. Because when you say accumulated trauma, that's what it is, because it doesn't stop. And because we care so much about bringing these messages to our community, we just work through it. And so we do thank you for the words of encouragement. When we're out there in the streets and somebody says, man, you guys are doing it. Like, that means the world. The fact that our community is actually connected to what we're doing right here at Converge. I'm in sidestep with Omari because we appreciate you. We love you so much for that. It goes a long, long way over here.
We're going to take a short break right now. We're going to get to talking about Trey Holiday's Valentine's. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
I did it for the city. I did it for the love. I did it for the people. I did it for us.
Back on this rap-ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own, tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media. Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Update Show. I am your co-host, Trey Holiday. And you know, as O says and Big Mama say out there, we can't be leaving the people affected. You know what I mean? So we definitely going to end on a positive, lighthearted note. I'm happy to be doing this work with you, Big O.
The pleasure is all mine. Believe it.
Well, the next story that we have coming up here, I'm actually excited to share this. Go ahead. You can put the overlay up, all you. This right here is about your Valentine's Day options. This is from the USA Today. There are 15 amazing Valentine's Day gifts to buy from Black-owned brands. And you guys, when you guys read this article, you guys will find, again, like for me, it was invigorating to learn about some of these brands. Some of them I did not know about, some I did, but it's just exciting to be celebrating Black culture, Black business during Black History Month, even though we do it all year round. It really is exciting to even talk about it. And I'm not one who often celebrates Valentine's, but I'm going to get into some of the top choices that I thought were amazing out of this article. One of them is the Design Essentials Scalp and Skin Moisturizing Oil Treatment. It is a lavender oil. For those of you who are oilists, I say, because I am definitely one. I love a great moisturizing oil. I love to use it for my scalp, for my skin. Honestly, you can utilize these oils in a lot of different ways. And with that scent of lavender, you know what I'm saying? It brings it onto the floral side a little bit, but also it's great for relaxation. There are some people that put this lavender stuff on their pillow so that they sleep well throughout the night. So that is one of my favorites. Also, as I was just talking about, you know, caring for my scalp here, I like the product of Briogeo. There we go. Got it. Briogeo Scalp Revival Stimulating Therapy Massager. So this is great for those of you that have natural hair, or whether you do or don't. Honestly, using a scalp massager, you can put a little bit of your favorite hair oil on the tips and use it to massage your scalp, as we're talking about some relaxing treatments. That one will get you really good. Have y'all ever been to a salon or a stylist and they wash your hair real well and they get their fingertips all up in your head and you're just like, that's what you can do for yourself with a scalp massager. So again, one of my favorites. My third one is, you know, hey, a lot of people are looking at ways to be more and more healthy. I see the growing trend of veganism in the Black community. Shout out to all of you. I'm coming for you. I mean, I'm right now, I'm maybe like 60% vegan, maybe 60%.
I thought vegan was like all in or all out.
That's why I'm transitioning, man.
Oh, you're in your transition. Okay.
Yeah, transitional
right.
period. You know, people do say if you're going to go vegan, you want to make sure you step into it. So I am stepping into it. But this right here, Partake gluten-free vegan cookies. They have several different varieties, but I know my favorite is the cookie butter. If anybody out there has experienced cookie butter, that is an amazing flavor. And you guys, I had to throw in this last one. I was only going to do 3 products, but I had to throw one to my brothers. Shout out to all of y'all that got the amazing beards as Big O does. I told him, don't cut that beard off. I love beards. And there is Scotch Porter's Conditioning Beard Balm. So yeah, you
beard
can get
balm.
Yeah, all of these.
Man, I've been waiting to cut this beard off for so long. But producer Nikki Barron said that we're gonna lose viewers if I cut this beard off. And so so it continues. I've been trying to manage it, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're gonna have to get you some of that Porter's, beard balm, man.
Saying that I look wise and educated with the beard. Little do they know, huh?
You're definitely wise and educated. But shout out to all of the products that are highlighted in this article. Again, you know, more and more people are trying to find ways to buy Black. And I'm glad that USA Today is highlighting these amazing products, these owners of businesses. Again, when we talk about how COVID has wrecked so many businesses, now is a great time to be thinking about your Valentine's. You got 10 days. So we did this with you to give you enough time. You can order these products and check out that article so you guys can get connected to some more Black business folks. Yeah, see, there we go, Nikki Barron. Thank you for putting it in the comments so that people can click on and figure out where these products are and how to get them.
All right. This is good stuff. You ain't got no Valentine's Day holiday?
You know, I don't do Valentine normally. I be with the kids. My kids are my Valentine.
I'm going to have to look into this.
Big O.
I'm just saying, you know, hey. All right. It's almost time to get out of here. Any last words?
You know what? Again, make it a great Thursday. I always love to say Friday Eve reminds us of how close we are to Friday. We are almost there, Big O. Make it a great Friday Eve, y'all.
By the way, Nikki says that she'll be your Valentine.
Oh, Nikki,
So
thank
now,
you.
You got Valentine's now. Nikki, now all you guys need to do is find me one.
No, there we go. You know,
Jake.
There we go.
Jay, now I don't want you to be my Valentine, Jay. I mean, I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you, but I'm gonna keep looking. You'll be my backup. Yeah, everybody need a backup. You'll be my backup. All right. Well, before we get out of here today, and I mean it so sincerely today and every day, I want to remind you to go forward today in your purpose and in humanity. Till tomorrow at 11 a.m. Peace.
Lift every voice and sing till earth in heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day.